Hello there, Michelle G here, Bendy Stitchy. I don't know what day today is because I don't know when I'm posting this, but happy 2025 because this is my 2025 WIP parade. I like a WIP parade at the beginning of the year because I love to start 15 things at the end of the year. So this is all of my active WIPs. There are a couple. There's one that I'm thinking of resurrecting from UFO-dom, which I'm going to need you to either talk me into it or talk me out of it. I need your help. There's some that I haven't touched. There's some that I've never stitched on that I just inherited. But we're going to go through them. And I am going to be brave. And I'm going to tell you my last time seen. Because now that I use the Notion app, I can tell you when was the last time I saw most of these. And for some of them, I'm not going to lie, it ain't pretty. So let's get going. All right, first up, I'm going oldest WIP to newest WIP. So first up is, if you've been here for any length of time, then you know her, you love her. I am talking about Josephine with Squid, art by Omar Ryan. This is now available at, I believe, Unconventional X Stitch. I started her on December 26th, 2018. The last time I recorded stitching on this was April 16th, 2023. Don't hate me. This is what she looks like. I am absolutely enamored with her. I renamed her Josephine, and I renamed him Humphrey. This is Josephine and Humphrey. I am on page 8 out of a million, at least. I'm not going to unroll it, but there's more stitching back here. So I am about here over across the top row. I think I have, once I finish this page here, this is the end of this page. Once I finish this page, I have just a partial page, and then I've done the entire first row. If I keep on at the pace that I'm stitching this, it's going to take me about 57,000 years to finish it. But will I pick this up this year? I don't know. I sure want to. Somebody please give me some kind of fire lit under my bootay. I like stitching in diagonal blocks of 10. This is on a piece of 25 count easy grid. These are 10 by 10 blocks, all DMC, full crosses. I am playing with the idea of switching to 2/1 tent stitch from 1/1 full cross. And anyone who thinks that they need to point out the difference in my stitching in the top row on the left-hand side of the picture can just leave. I'm really thinking about that. Let me know, do you think that the 1/1 tent stitch or 2/1 tent stitch, like, I know it's going to speed me up. I think I might just do it. I think I might just have to do it for a couple blocks and see what happens. I do have a lot of threads here parked that are single threads, though. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence. What do you think? Thoughts on 2/1 versus 2/1 tent versus 1/1 full cross. You can see I feathered my edges. I'm very fancy. I'm using Pattern Keeper for this. I love her. I love her. I don't know. Don't ask me why she hasn't been out in 800 years because I don't know why she hasn't been out in 800 years. But we'll fix that. We will fix that. I'm going to try to also sprinkle in plans during this video. Alicia, my friend Alicia, and Nithya at Daybreak Stitchery are hosting a sal called #GetOutOfMyWhips and Onto My Walls sal. Anyway, here's Nithya's Get Out of My Whips and Onto My Walls sal. And the idea is you finish your stuff, right? So between this #GetOutOfMyWhips and Onto My Walls sal, and I'm also participating in Year of Whips. And then I've also made myself a slightly threatening hashtag, #No More Birthdays sal. Meaning that's going to help give me structure on when I work on these projects and when I hope to have them finished. So any project that's turning more than 1 year old, I'm happy to celebrate a project's first birthday with it. Any project who is celebrating its 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or in some cases 6th birthday, that's not Josephine with Squid, I don't want them to have another birthday. For example, this next project is called Abra Lowney, 1825. She is not as big as you would think she is for how long I've been working on her. I started this on, well, anyway, here she is. This is from Erica Michaels. This is the finished product, Abra Lowney, 1825. I started her on July 13th, 2019. And you would think she was this huge, huge BAP. She's really not. She's really not that big. This is where she is. I love her. She's stitched on a piece of 40 count. This is 40 count linen, vintage country mocha. It's a printed piece of fabric. And this is my conversion. So it's Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts and Color and Cotton. And I'm probably close to halfway on this. There's a lot of embroidery on the bottom, and there's some over one on the bottom. But a lovely human sent me some Tudor silk in this blue color that I can stitch over one. So I do not want Abra to turn 6 years old this year. July 13th, 2019, on July 13th, 2025, she'll be 6 years old. There's no reason a WIP this size should be 6 years old. So hashtag no more birthdays, Sal. Hashtag year of WIPs 2025. Hashtag get out of my WIPs and onto my walls. 3 hashtags for her. I think I can do it. I do love her. And I do want to finish her. So I'll be working on her. But you might not see her till the summertime, right? Because July. This next one is really fun. I started this on September 27th, 2020. This is on a piece of 40 count buttercream linen from Lakeside Linens. And right now it's nothing. It's nothing. This is 2 little motifs. So this is, this moth is from a pattern called Moonlight, I think, this is from Moonlight from Blackbird Designs, and this is from a Rosewood Manor. And this is actually going to be, I don't know if you've seen it, but this is going to be for hashtag spot your numbers, Sal. So Mariam of Marumi Designs and Julie of Julie in Stitches said, pick a number that's important to you and take that many motifs off of charts and put them onto a spot sampler. So I was kind of already working on this. I call this project my own spot sampler. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking motifs from charts that I don't want to stitch the whole chart. I'm taking motifs from charts and I'm putting them on this sampler. So, for example, I love this funky plant. Don't necessarily want to stitch the whole thing, but I want to stitch that funky plant. So that plant will go on it. Yellow Submarine from Blackbird Designs. Love this top border. That'll be part of the border of this thing. There's about 1,000 of these. This is Por Luciana Delgado from Needlework Press. I don't stitch Needlework Press anymore, but I already bought this. I think for me, it's this bird here. This whole sampler is like 460 by 200 stitches. No way I'm stitching all of that. But that bird, yeah, way. I can stitch that. So I don't know how many I have. From Milady's Needle, that's a great little squirrel. I'll put that squirrel on there, right? I don't know how many of these I have, but I have a lot of them. This is from Sampler Armenian. Look at these birds here. There's a lot of birds. Look at those. Like kind of kissing birds on top. So I don't want to stitch these whole patterns, but there's a lot of really good motifs. So I don't have a number, but I am really excited. And some of them are big. Like I want to stitch this whole basket here. And a lot of them I'm going to use the called for colors because the reason I like them is because they look like what they look like on the front page. Even this Barbara Anna Designs, I don't want to stitch this whole thing, but I do want to put that little fox on my sampler. She's cute. So I don't know how many are in here, like I said, but I will pick however many these are, and I will add these to my Your Own Spot Sampler, and I'll use a hashtag pick your number, Sal. This one I've never recorded. I don't know when I put these on. It was probably sometime in 2020 or 2021. I've never recorded any stitching on this, so I couldn't tell you the last time it was seen, but I'm really excited. Okay, this next one does fall under the category of hashtag no more birthdays, Sal. This is Moonlight from Filigram. And this chart is absolutely gorgeous, okay? Keeping in mind that this picture does nothing for the chart, right? Because it's an older picture. This is Moonlight from Filigram. It's one of my oldest WIPs. Again, I started it on November 16th, 2020. The last time I picked it up was December 24th, 2023. So it's been over a year, and this is how far I am. I have one side of the border. But what I will say is for a lot of these older WIPs, what I've done is I've divided them up. So here's how I divided up Moonlight. You can see I finished section 1. And what I find is if I just pull it out and stitch it and take it a section at a time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then I don't have to take out this piece and be like, I gotta finish this whole thing. I just take this piece out and say, okay, Michelle, knock out a section. Just knock out a section and you'll be totally fine. And that really does. My friend Deborah Carroll divided up my next WIP like that I'll show you. It's the 2020 Pandemic Sampler. My friend Deborah Carroll divided up Pandemic like that, and it worked quite a bit for Pandemic. So I'm going to do that for Moonlight. This I'm stitching in the called for Gentle Arts threads, and this is a piece of 40 count Salt Marsh Green from R&R Reproductions. And I also need to finish this year because I'm sending it to my friend Heather with the other half of the fabric. So this will fit on half the fabric. So I want this finished by November 16th of this year. I don't want it to turn 5 years old. There's no reason. Again, this is not big enough to turn 5 years old. Okay. WIP number 5 is Pandemic Sampler, 2020 Pandemic Sampler from Sarcy Girl. If you're not familiar, I feel like everybody was stitching this in 2020, and I'm going to show you the divided up version. So my friend Deborah Carroll divided this. So I have finished 5 out of 8 sections, and it's looking really good. I only have 3 sections to go. I will say this house is a beast because this house was a beast. There's a lot of stitches in those houses. That's full stitching. This one I haven't had out since December 15th, 2023, but there's significant progress on this, right? This is on 40 count Rusted Nail from Kitten Stitcher. And this is actually stitched, it's charted in DMC, but their Mrs. Sadis, who is a Spanish floss dyer, made a floss pack for this. So this is stitched in all of the Mrs. Sadis silks. And it's fun to stitch. I love it. I got to get going on this because I started this on March 3rd, 2021, and it'll be a feat for me to finish this one before it turns 4 years old. But I can do it. Like I worked on this for a strand a day September, and I finished, I think, most of this bottom section just doing it a strand a day. So it's really fun, and it's in silk. I'm going to put it on the other side, which is the get this out and work on it pile. Okay. Next WIP is Hex Hotel. This is from Dee's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari. And I also divided this one up, but I'm going to undivide this one because I'm actually going to cheat and put this one in a round robin. So this is the design, Dee's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari. I bought it immediately when it came out. I think I might have gotten it in a box, maybe, or I just bought it right away. Anyway, I started this on September 13th, 2021, and I am wicked embarrassed to show you this start because this WIP is 3.5 years old, and I've stitched, maybe if you combine all that stitching, it's one complete window. This is a piece of 40 count Verdal from Jody at Steel City Stitchers, and the needle minder, of course, came with the kit, Hex, for Hex Hotel. So I'm not using the called for flosses in this. This is Stitchy Box Bat Orchid, which is my favorite black floss. I also have some Almond M&M's silk in this bright electric green that I'm using, a Stitchy Box Grape, and then Glow in the Dark DMC on 40 count. And the reason that I say that I'm not going to show you the way I divided this up is because it doesn't matter, because I am going to use this for hashtag WIP My WIPs round robin. WIP My WIPs round robin is what I want. I'm going to arrange it for my patrons, but what I would like you all to do is get those WIPs that you love, but you don't work on, right? I love them, but I don't work on them. And they just need a jump start. Like, I feel like if this were a little bit farther along, I would be more likely to grab it. Actually, I'm looking at it right now and thinking, like, Michelle, you should just work on it. I'm going to make a group of myself and 4 other friends, and we're all going to pick a WIP, and we're going to all send each other our WIPs, and we're all going to just get a little bit of progress on each other's WIPs. I'm not intending for my friends to finish this for me. So we're going to do 2 months at a time instead of 3 months at a time, so that there's time at the end of the year to get it back and finish it if you want to. But just work on a WIP for a friend. And it doesn't have to be a group of 5. Like, it's just a nice round number for sending things around. But I'm going to send this out to my friends and see what they can do. I think it won't be finished by September 13th, 2021, but we might get it close. I don't know. So, hashtag whip my whips out. That goes in the get it out quick category. Actually, I told you the wrong fabric for pandemic. It was Shrinking Violet, but I think it's still from... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Next up is another embarrassing start. This is Walk Fast Sampler from Lindy Stitches. And I started this on December 31st, 2021. I started this on December 31st, 2021. You can see right here. I don't know the last time I touched it because it hasn't been in Notion history that I've touched it. But let me close some of these. This is Walk Fast from Lindy Stitches. I started this in honor of Betty White when she passed away because it's a rose nylon saying. It's like that old Scandinavian saying, you can lead a herring to water, but you have to walk fast or he'll die. And this is another one that I might send out for a hashtag whip my whips round robin. This is on 40 count rusty nail. Ready for this blazing start? This is embarrassing. It's one tiny burb, and then I think that's some of the herring's leash. Now, I'm doing this in exactly none of the called for flosses. I made my own complete conversion of this, which I think is beautiful. It's a really good conversion. I just haven't picked it up. And this is 40 count rusty nail from Kitten Stitcher from 2019. So I would like to send this out to my friends. So I might be in 2 groups this year. We'll see. Of course, I haven't arranged that yet, but it's going to be fine. So that was WIP number, I don't know what number we're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was WIP number 7. WIP number 8. So I don't have any WIPs from 2022. The last 3 were from 2021. I have 1 from 2018, 1 from 2019, 2 from 2020, 4 from 2021, and none from 2022. I finished all of my 2022 WIPs, and then I have 3 from 2023, and then the rest are from 2024. So that's not bad. So this is, I started this July 30th, 2023. This is Caterpillar Lad. This is by Kaylee at the Sewing Shop. This is the art. The art is by a friend of her, Brooklyn Stormy. And when I saw this, I was like, that's really freaking weird. And you know me and weird. I had to start it. So I ordered it from Kaylee at the Sewing Shop, the whole kit. So it came with this gorgeous bag. I love her bags because they're like Q-snap bags, right? It has this like heft to it. So this is the bag. It's charted all in DMC. I don't know if all the DMCs are in there. It doesn't matter. She dyed the fabric. I said no background on the floss, on the pattern, and so she dyed the fabric. And look at that blazing start. That's 1 day of stitching, I think. Caterpillar Lad. I started it on July 30th, 2023, and that's how far I got on July 30th, 2023. I'm stitching this 1/1 full crosses, and it's really nice because there's no background, so a lot of the background of the picture is going to show through on this. And then Kaylee, oh, it does have all the flosses. See, she sent us the floss cards. So the background's going to be really beautiful and show through. There's going to be a lot of stitching in the caterpillar, but I might half stitch the caterpillar. So we'll see. I don't know if if I can finish this one by July. This is a lot of stitching, and it's a mostly full coverage, but we won't know unless we try, will we? Hashtag no more birthdays, Sal. I also put this down as one of my Year of WIPs pieces. Year of WIPs is a challenge that Melanie Watkins runs. Melanie Watkins is the Soulful Stitcher. It's run in her Soulful Stitching Facebook group. And the idea is, I think you have to pick at least 10 WIPs and you put them in a album on the Facebook group, and everybody kind of cheers everybody else along, and you try to finish half of your WIPs. That's it. Okay. Next up is, I love this one. So next up is my retreat spot sampler. And this one doesn't count as a WIP that I can finish, because this, honestly, I'm not going to call this finished until the fabric is full. So I go to a lot of retreats. I try to go to a lot of retreats. And a lot of times when you go to a retreat, they have a retreat project. For example, the last retreat that I was signed up for, I didn't get to go because we had just bought the house and it wasn't right, blah, blah, blah. The last retreat I just was signed up for was the Barefoot Needle Art Retreat at the first weekend of October in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The featured designer at that retreat is my friend Holly, and Holly designed this. It's called If Crabby. If Crabby, please return to the beach. Now, this is not that big. This is 120 by 80. But it's big enough, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the crab and I'm going to put it on my retreat spot sampler. And every time I go to a retreat, oh my God, I love this so much. Every time I go to a retreat, I take a motif out of the retreat project and I put it on my sampler. I just realized that the project that I'm designing for the cruise this year totally does not lend itself to this. I'm going to have to figure something else out. But anyway, here's my retreat spot sampler. Let me see if I can find a way to hold it so that I can talk about it also. Okay, that'll do. This is my retreat spot sampler. And it all started when I went to Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit in 2022, and I stitched this whale from Lindy Stitch's project on this piece of fabric from Jody, Trixie Tricycle, when she was just starting to dye fabric. This whole piece is by her now, this big piece. And then I realized I have all of these projects from all of these retreats, and I don't stitch the whole project. So I just started combining it. So Spring Fling 2024, Stitch North 2023, Midwest Cross Stitch 2019, Pinwist 2020, Fall Fling 2018, Pinwist 2021, Acorns and Threads 25th Anniversary, Stitch North 2024, Spring Fling 2023, Pinwist 2024, Midwest Cross Stitch 2017, way back in the day, Flosstube at Sea 24, I gotta put the year on that, Pinwist 23. And then I'll add the crab for Barefoot Needle Art 2024. And this will be done when it's done. That's how much fabric I have. I think this is a half yard. This is a fall 2023 36 count test dye from Cedar River Linen. I don't think this made it, but this is how much fabric I have. And that's when it'll be done. So I'm going to try to leave myself a 3-inch margin. I suck at that because I'm like, I'm close to the edges. If I leave a 3-inch margin, what is that, like this? So I'm pretty close to the edge over here. This year at Pinwist, the designers are Krista of Avali Folk Designs, Avali Folk Art, and the Artsy Housewife. And they both make, is it the Artsy Housewife? No, that's not right. Someone correct me. Anyway, both designers are beautiful at borders. So I can't wait because this year I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to put in some border on this. So I'm just going to keep building it and building it. So this one is not subject to any finishing deadlines because it will never be finished. Not never, but it's going to be probably years and years before it's finished. And I'm okay with that because I am totally obsessed with this. And all of the words I'm stitching in the same blue silk that was a gift from my friend Nati at Stitch North. So I'm going to keep that rolling, and that just goes to every retreat with me. I could actually probably bring it up to date soon-ish, but we'll see about that. I got a lot of stuff that needs stitching. So, all right, next piece was started October 24th, 2023. This is Namarie Tapestry. And this is from Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. He was inspired to make a vintage, an antique-ish sampler about the elves, because he also loves Lord of the Rings. So he has this one, and now he has one that I think is called Dwarven Axe or something. Kim's working on it, but it's about the dwarves. So I started this with a group of friends, and some of them have already finished it. I did not get very far. I stitched on this. Well, it says I stitched on it 0 days, but the last time I stitched on it was December 31st, 2023. This is on a piece of 40 count, I believe, red-tailed hawk from Jessie at Mislaid Pages. So the fabric is amazing. There's my abysmal start. I'm stitching this in DMC 3371, and my accent color, which you can almost see, like the bubbles here, are in my accent color. That's called Mumsford Wood. It's from Treenway Silks. So yeah, not very far along on that. I'm going to have to really haul buns to get that finished by October 24th, 2024. I don't know how No More Birthdays Sal is going to go for this one, but I love it. There were a bunch of Zooms and everybody was stitching together, and it was just really nice. I didn't get to as many Zooms as I wanted to get to, but you know, it feels good to be stitching something with somebody, even if you're not continually stitching it with them all the time. My next one is called Grief Knows No Bounds. And this, I was part of the design team for this one. This was a collaboration. We called ourselves the Stitchers for Peace. And we made this design kind of in the early days of the genocide in Palestine. So Medium of Marumi Designs, we all took a part of this. Aya Rosen, Yasmin's Made with Love, myself, and Yes of Crafty Yams. We all came together and we designed this pattern. Let me show you because you're not going to be able to tell from my WIP what it is. So this is the design, Grief Knows No Bounds. And Aya and the Yasmins and I each designed a bird. And then Medium, because of her extreme talent with borders, not only designed the border, which is supposed to represent the river and the sea, you know, from the river to the sea, it also has this poem around it. And the poem was originally written, I believe, in Farsi. So the poem is written on this pattern in 4 languages: Farsi, Arabic, Hebrew, and English. And the English translation, because I can't read the other 3 languages, is human beings are members of a whole in creation of one essence and soul. If one member is inflicted with pain, other members uneasy will remain. If you have no sympathy for human pain, the name of human you cannot pertain. And we kind of, we focused on what brings us together as humans, and grief was what brings us together. We're all feeling something for the people of Palestine right now. So you can still get this chart. This is a charity chart. You do it by donating at least $15 to one of 4 charities. One of them is the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. And then you email me or one of the other designers your receipt. Email me at bendystitchy@gmail.com, and I will send you your PDF version, and you can stitch it with me. And you can see I do need someone to stitch it with me, because this is how far I've gotten. All the way across the bottom, though. I'm all the way across the bottom. I started this on January 7th, 2024. I'm totally happy if this turns a year old. I'm not going to finish this before January 7th, 2025. That's like in 3 days. 2 stitching days on this. And I did make it all the way across the bottom. I'm stitching this in all the called for DMC. This is on a piece of 40 count Verdal from Jessie at Mislaid Pages. It's called Determination. It's actually the exact same piece of fabric that I stitched my Stitch for Pride on. I'll probably cut this fabric so that I can finish off Stitch for Pride, and then they'll be separated, but I really, really do want to focus on this one this year. I love this stitch, and I love what it stands for, and I hate the ongoing genocide in Palestine. Next WIP is Autumn Night Garden. This is from Tiny Modernist. This is one of This is one of Cheryl's Patreon charts. So I don't think that this is available yet, but I think that this one is getting close to being available, because what Cheryl does on her Patreon is she gives us a chart, the patrons, and then I think we get access to it for 2 months. So if you don't download it in 2 months, you slept, and I'm sorry. Big, you don't get it. She puts it in a vault for 10 months, and then she releases it out into the world. So this is the version that she released. I'm pretty sure my friend Trina already model stitched this for her for release. I started it on February 25th of this year, and I stitched on it for 4 days. This is on 40 count murky, so I need to have pretty good light to stitch this. 40 count murky linen. In all of the DMC, 1 strand over 2 on the linen. It's going to be tiny. You can see, like, here's the murky. Murky used to be my absolute favorite. I started it in the darker spot because I thought that these mushrooms and stuff would really resonate. And then as I got up here, it might get a little more, I don't know. But I think I picked the darkest spot in the fabric, which is also slowing me down a little bit. A little bit. Also, my stitches in this lighter color feel really uneven to me, but can you tell if my stitches are even or not? Because if you can't, then I don't really think it probably matters. Anyway, I'm okay with this one turning a year old as well. February 25th, 2024 was the start. I don't think I can finish it by February 25th, 2025, but maybe I'll take it on the cruise with me. I don't know. This next one, I do think I might be able to finish it by my birthday, by its birthday, or by my birthday, it's fine. This one is called Christmas Basket. This was another Patreon chart. This was a Patreon chart from Fox and Rabbit. So first of all, I love Karen and Bren. Second of all, it was this green fabric that they released this on. Like, this bright acid green fabric is totally not what I think of when I think of a Christmas design, but I love it. So I started this also. Can't remember exactly what was going on February 25th, 2025, but I started both of these last 2 projects on that date. This is a piece of 32 count linen from Fox and Rabbit that Bren dyed. He was thinking maybe I could put my Dark Queen of the Earth on this, but I didn't end up actually stitching her. So I'm putting this, and I'm changing it where it said down below it had the alphabet. I stitched on this for 2 days. My last day of stitching. So I don't know, Autumn Night Garden and this piece, I started those both on February 25th, 2024. And the last time I touched them both was July 27th, 2024. I must have been doing some kind of challenge, right? I must have been doing some kind of challenge. Anyway, when I stitched on this in July, it's my only Christmas themed piece that I was working on at the time. So I stitched on this for #Kissmas in July because my Diana, it is Kismet, we celebrate her all month of July because her birthday is between Christmas and New Year's, and that's a hard time for a birthday. So, and it's a hard time for a birthday Sal. So I changed the alphabet to say Kissmas in July, and then I'll put something down below. I don't know what I'll put down below. And then I'll build the basket, and there's 2 little birds in the basket, and I'll put one of the little birds over here too, because I counted that, and I counted it, and I counted it, and then I didn't do what I counted. So I think I can finish this, and this is actually a pretty good travel WIP because it's on 32 count. So I'm going to put this in my list of, like, yeah, you could finish that, Michelle, things this year. I have it in, actually my friend Kim made me a travel case and gave it to me on last year's cruise, so I'll put it back in that and take it on this year's cruise. Okay, only 4 more WIPs. 4 more WIPs, and then I'll show you the WIP that I haven't recorded as a WIP, the WIP that I think I'm going to add as a WIP, so I think I'll be up to 21 after this. My next one is, I started this June 19th, 2024, and this is Nuri's third, this is Nuri at Shaded Stitchery. This is her third Juneteenth sampler. So I don't have the second one. It's the one with 2 waterfalls going down. I don't have the second one, but I did grab this one, and I did start this one on Juneteenth of this year. I have worked on it 1 day, unfortunately, and it is on a piece of, this is either 36 or 40 count. I think this is 40 count vintage buttercream or vintage bittersweet. I think this is vintage bittersweet. and I have some of the bottom border started. What I found with this pattern is that there's a lot of color changes on this pattern. So I was really struggling and going slow. And then I'll show you what I did. I threaded 2 needles and I'm just carrying it straight across. So once I had both that blue and that red threaded on needles and decided I'm just going to carry them across, I flew through the bottom border. So I would say, hot tip, do not hesitate to thread more than 1 needle and use more than 1 needle on a project. Nobody's going to look at the back. And even if they do, have you seen the back of an antique sampler? Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. So, taking up space. I would love for this to be finished. I think I could probably finish this one by June 19th of this year. It just depends on how I prioritize my life. Okay. And then the next 3 are all still on scroll frames and etc., etc. So this next one is a little bit funny. This will not be done this year. It's not really intended to be done. Actually, this should be done this year. I gotta get stitching. Oh, this is the wrong. I don't have a picture of this one. I don't have a picture of this one. So this is Birdie, Veerland Sisters 1 from Stitchy Box. I'm just going to pull it up because you have to see it in order for this to make sense. Hold on. For some reason, I can't... Okay, time out. Okay, time in. Okay, I got it. So this is Birdie. This is Veerland Sisters 1. I think there's 5 or 7 of them, actually. So I think this is an original sampler from Liz at Stitchy Box. And what is important to me is that there are exactly 21 motifs on that sampler. Okay? So on July 1st, 2024, I started this sampler, and this is my hashtag 2 years of tours bell pull. So this fabric right here is from Kaylee at the Stitching Shop, and it's a really long, really skinny kind of bell pull-esque fabric. So what I am doing is, you might or might not remember, depending on how long you've been here, my extreme love for cycling. So I have hashtag 2 years of tours belt pull. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch Birdie 6 times over the next 2 years. I've done it 1.5 times already. So I started here during the Giro d'Italia. So the major races of the year in the cycling world are the Giro d'Italia, the Tour de France, which most people have heard of, and La Vuelta a España. Those are the big 3 tours, the grand tours. So what I did is the winner's jersey of the Giro is pink, the winner's jersey of the Tour is yellow, and the winner's jersey of La Vuelta is red. So I decided that I would stitch Birdie 6 times to make it hashtag 2 years of tours bell pull. So what I did is every time somebody won a stage in the Tour, this is the Giro, or in the Tour, I changed the motif to match that person's jersey. So this is what the jersey looked like of the guy who won stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, etc., etc. And then when the person who was wearing the leader's jersey won the stage, I outlined that motif in the leader's jersey color. So Tadej Pogačar, who won the Giro d'Italia, he won this stage, this stage, this stage, this stage, and this stage. So then I put, I'll show you the Tour because it's finished, because this is cool. And I'm sorry, if you don't like this, fast forward. But this is really cool, and I feel very creative, and I also feel like I'm having a really good time with this. So this is the Tour de France version, and you can see up here where it had the alphabet originally, I wrote Tour de France, Tadej Pogačar, because Tadej Pogačar won the Tour de France. And here, you can't really read it that well in the yellow, but it says Anno, and I said 2024. So the next Tour de France will be at the bottom, and it'll say Anno 2025. And then there's 3 additional jersey winners in each tour. It's not just the guy who wins the tour overall. It's the person who also wins the King of the Mountains, which is a yellow polka dot jersey in the Tour de France, the points jersey for the fastest sprinter, which is a green jersey, and then the white jersey for the best young rider. So Tadej Pogacar also won the King of the Mountains, so he's in the red and white polka dots that you can't read. Biniam Girmay won the sprinter's jersey, which was exciting because he was the first Black African to win a jersey in the Tour de France. There's been like white guys from Kenya and stuff that have won. And then Remco Evenepoel won the best youngest rider. And you can't, that's not showing on screen. And I got to tell you, it almost doesn't show in real life either. But just imagine this, long and like a bell pull, and it chronicles the Grand Tours for 2 years. I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm a wee bit behind. So what I wanted to do at the end of this year was to finish the Giro and stitch La Vuelta. What I did was catch up on models that I've been putting off for 6 months. Okay. Next WIP. The next start is, this is the 2025 Steady Thread Sal. So the Steady Thread is a blackwork designer, and they design a free sal every year where they give you oh man, where is it? I'm looking for it on my Instagram. They design a free sal every year where they give you an outline, and then they give you motifs. So here's this year's, and this year has like a bunch of different options. This one really spoke to me with the stork scissors. So this is already available. You just have to sign up. It's free through their website. You give them their email. And then there's 52 of these little bubbles. And every week they release a motif to put inside of a bubble. So I thought, hey, I want to try blackwork. I need a new tail end project. Let me start the Steady Thread 2025 Sal as my new hashtag tail end project. So here's where I am. And this is a piece of 20 count Aida that my friend Diana dyed. And I know, it's called blackwork. It doesn't always have to be done in black, but definitely you're looking at it and you're like, Michelle, why would you stitch it in all those light colors when look how good that black works? Because these are the tail ends of my project, okay? My focus is a little different. But I got to admit, if I were going to do this, I would absolutely choose black on this fabric because that is stunning. But so this represents all the projects that I've worked on since December 25th, 2024. Last time I worked on this was December 31st, 2024, because my current project is monochromatic. So as soon as I finish my current project, I'll put in a little bit more of that. And I haven't checked my email or the Steady Thread website, but I'll check my email and the Steady Thread website because I think depending on where they gave us the first motif, I'll have to work towards that circle. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of the 52 circles done. So my plan is to just keep doing the circles. I don't really care if I get behind, quote unquote, on the sal. It just keep filling in the black work on my tail end project so that it ends up as a tail end project. And then for my next tail end project, have you even seen that newest Long Dog sampler? Like, have you seen it? Because I don't know. I don't know where it is. I can't find it right now. I'm kerfluffled by the new, hang on, I reposted it in my stories. The new Long Dog sampler, it's called the 7th Wave. At the bottom it says, in the shelter of each other we survive. I want this to be my next tail end project. Like, in the worst way. That would take an eternity as a tail end project. But it also takes an eternity anyway. And it has a blue-footed booby, right? There's a lobster and a crab and a bunch of whales. Look at all these whales. And a helicopter. Like, why not? It's speaking to me. It's got birds and hats. Where's Imogen? So that'll be my next tail end project eventually, whenever. I don't really know. And then last but not least, my very last WIP, which will be my first finish of 2025. This is a model that I'm working on. I'm not going to tell you what it's for because it's a secret, but I'm going to show you my model. This is, I'm calling it Love Drum. So this is on a piece of 32 count Warata from Fox and Rabbit. And I'm stitching this in Threadworks variegated floss called Peaches and Cream. And this is going to take slightly over one skein of that floss. So keep an eye out on my space for the next month or so, and you'll see where this is coming. And if you want to get Fox and Rabbit Warata and Peaches and Cream from Threadworks, or you could get DMC 224. Totally. It won't give you the variegation, but the DMC 224 is this darker color. Totally fine. This right here is WIP number 17. And those are all of my active WIPs. But I actually have a couple of WIPs that I didn't count on there. The first one is one that I showed in my finish parade, but I think I might put it in my WIPs. So this is 12 Days of the Resistance from Leanne at Forbidden Fiber Co. It was in one of her boxes that I got last year, 2023, I think. It was in this box in 2023. And the reason I debated whether it's a WIP, whether they're finishes, is because they're all individual patterns, right? So day 3, the Galactic Republic. Day 4, the Star Wars logo. But I think what keeps happening is I keep finishing these one a year. It has a Han Solo and carbonite needle minder. I keep finishing these one per year. Like I finished this one in December 2023. I finished this one in May 2024. I don't want to keep finishing these once a year. So I think what I'm going to do is just call this a WIP. And I'm going to stitch, there's 12 plus 1 bonus pattern. I have enough fabric. This is a piece of 25 count even weave. Can totally fit those on there. I'm going to fully finish them all into a little Star Wars journal that Carla made me from Carla Being Crafty. But I think I need to list this as a WIP and count each individual finish as like a partial finish. Otherwise, I'm going to keep forgetting that I have it going. So this will be WIP number 19. But I do believe I started this December 24th, 2023. So this is one of my older WIPs. So I would like for this to be done by December 24th, 2025. Hashtag no more birthdays, Sal. Lucky for me, Stitch North is over May the 4th weekend. So I'm going to be taking this to Stitch North. Clearly. So that's WIP number 18 now. Potential WIP number 19 is the Cryptid Sal from Witchy Stitcher. I know you've seen this. I don't have a picture of the whole thing, but I have a picture of about where I gave up. I continued to download the whole thing, I'm pretty sure. And if I didn't, then I'll just go back and buy the rest of it. So this is the Cryptid Sal from the Witchy Stitcher. It's from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something like that. I started this and I UFO'd it because, not because I don't love it, because this is a piece of 40 count linen from Jody of Steel City Stitchers. I love the linen. That's not why. It's because I chose to stitch all the black in frickin' DMC Diamant. And that was a bad choice. Because DMC Diamant is a little too thick for 40 count. However, it looks really good. And I think I'm ready to get this back out again. I thought about cutting these up and finishing them individually in my journal, but I just don't think I have enough border in between each of them. I'd have to be really precise with my cuts. I just think I want to resurrect this. I don't think I'm going to put any kind of time limit on it, but I think I am going to resurrect it if I can find my pattern. That's a big if. If I can find my pattern, I'll resurrect it. If I can't find my pattern, I'll put it back in the timeout. I'll upgrade it from UFO to timeout, and I'll think about it. I do love, it doesn't read on the camera, but like if you could see, Mothman shines like Catwoman made his outfit. Like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, how she was all latexy and amazing, or like pleathery and amazing. Mothman has that same quality. So does the Jersey Devil with his high heels. Like, they look like Catwoman did their outfits. And I love this look. And if the tactile, I just think I love this WIP too much. It's been in timeout long enough, and I think I have to resurrect it. She's back. Cryptids is here. They're back. Lolly helped me do a purge of my WIPs, and this is one that I kept trying to reach for, and she kept saying, leave it on the ground! And I can't. I gotta bring it back, Lolly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She's back. And then, last but not least, I think this is the last one. I probably missed one. I usually miss one, but that's okay. Last but not least, this is a WIP that I've never actually worked on. This WIP that I'm about to show is the reason that I haven't started the Tiny Modernist Tarot Cell yet, because I inherited this WIP by my choice. There was a stitcher who stitched at Acorns and Threads a lot, and she passed away. And she had one of her friends bring all of her stash to Acorns and Threads. And Janine, being the lovely person that she is, was trying to rehome all of this person's stash. When I tell you this person had a metric shit ton of cross stitch, I think we can all relate. Excuse my French, but you had to know that was coming just from like what my head was doing. I grabbed this. This is the Tiny Modernist Zodiac Sal. This is started in all of the called for DMC on a piece of 25 count charcoal even weave, 2 strands over 2. When I tell you it's big, I gotta scoop my chair back. I'm gonna stand up. This is big. This is beautiful. This is an incredibly gorgeous WIP. I have the whole pattern. I have all the DMC. I have the WIP. She's stitched Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries and had a start on Taurus. Her border is getting there. It's not finished. There's still a lot of twinkly things. But all of those middle circles are done. All of the bottom circles are done. And the 13th bonus circle is done. So what I would like to do this year is I would like to say that I'm going to stitch each piece in its season. Which would mean I don't actually have to do anything. Which means I don't have to do anything for a while, right? Because what are we in right now? Are we in Capricorn season? I think we're in Capricorn season. Oh, I could actually, because we're in Capricorn season, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I could go down, because this last circle over here would be Capricorn, because next is Aquarius. So I could actually start in on Capricorn season. And then during Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries seasons, I could work on the border and whatnot. So I really do want to finish this. I really want to finish it, not only because of its abandoned WIP status from this other human, but because I love Cheryl at Tiny Modernist, and I am a Zodiac girly, y'all. I don't know if you know, but I am full on Pisces, and I believe in all of this. Every last bit of it. So I realized that I hadn't started this WIP on my Notion yet, so I'm starting this WIP. I think I can finish it this year. Each circle is not that big. This is also a wall hanging or a bedspread, whichever one works best. But I really do want to work on this. I love Cheryl's designs. And I feel like once I finish this, then I can go ahead and start her tarot cell, which I have almost all of. I've been collecting it. She's been gifting it to me, and I've been collecting it, and I have almost all of it. And I would really love to be able to finish this one, hang it up behind me in the videos while I'm showing the tarot cell. Like, how cool would that be? So that's it. That is currently 17, 18, 19. Now I'm up to 20 WIPs. I'm up to 20 cross-stitch WIPs. I'll finish one today, so I'll be at 19. I'll start another one because I got to work on another model, and then I'll start another one because I got to work on another model. So I'll be at 20 for a little while. Not going to lie and say I won't throw in Quirky Quakers because I will. But also I'm thinking that maybe this one will satisfy my need for small, like, palette cleanser finishes, and then that would knock this out really fast too. So yeah, lots of WIPs. A couple of sals, so if you want to join me, I hope you made a lot of progress, by the way, on this for hashtag parade progress 24_25. But if you wanted to join me on hashtag get out of my WIPs, get onto my walls, Sal, with Nithya and Alicia, please do. If you wanted to join me with hashtag pick your number, Sal, I think that one's going to be really, really fun with Miriam and Julie, please do. And also if you want to just get a little cutthroat with me and do hashtag no more birthdays, Sal. Don't let those WIPs get a year older. Let's finish them. Hashtag year of WIPs. All the hashtags. I'm an elder millennial. No, I'm not going to let my hashtags go. Let me live. And then word of the year. I don't know if anybody has a word of the year. But I used to get them on like the bracelets and everything, and now I just kind of think like, what is my word of the year? And I was actually thinking back through the year, and it's a word that I hear my doctors use sometimes, and my surgeons, and they say, your body will re-equilibrate after surgery. And it's because they've replaced a joint, right? So they're saying like, you're going to figure out where your balance is. But I really think that equilibrate is a great word for this year. It means to bring into or keep in equilibrium, balance. I love the idea of balance. I'm not so good at the application of the concept of equilibrium, but I go to therapy, so we're good. So I think my word of the year, loosely, and I'll probably forget if you ask me point blank, is equilibrate. Equilibrate. Maybe I'll chart that. Wear it like a badge. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the WIP parade. I have never added so many WIPs during a WIP parade before, and I've never not subtracted WIPs during a WIP parade. So I feel pretty strongly about everything that I have going. I feel pretty strongly that a couple of things I have going are going to get sent off to other people to work on, and I love that too. So if you want to join in on those hashtag WIP my WIPs, Sal, or WIP my WIPs round robin, or Sal, or start my start round robin, pop over to my Patreon because I'm going to be hosting them through there. You don't have to stay a member for the whole year, but you do have to be a member to sign up. I just need you to know that you're in it to win it. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, this has been a really long day of filming. I gotta go. It's 3 hours. I am dehydrated. So I will see you all when I see you. Maybe that's Sunday, streaming on Twitch. Maybe that's another time. But keep your WIPs moving.